it's what I said on deadline day too, like in a vacuum,
Mm-hmm.
turning a 2024 first rounder into Jakob Poeltl was not a bad piece of business. It's the timing of it. Like if they had made this exact move the day before the season started,
Yep.
I don't think any of us would have complained about it, and there wouldn't have been reason to complain about it. It's
No,
the time.
we'd be in the top 6, I think.
Yeah, we would be saying we're winning the East, but
I mean, probably.
but it's just the timing of it. The fact that it happened when they were 4 games under 500 and in 11th or 12th place or whatever they were in a season that seemed lost. And because of with the rollover effect of the pick protections too, it now limits their ability to even trade a future first after 2024 until they've actually relinquished that pick. So if they say wanted to do something this summer, they can't trade their own pick now until 2028 and 2030, I believe, until they've relinquished the 2024 one. So again, in a vacuum, he fits and the trade made sense. It's just the timing of it and the way that the protections on that pick are going to impact their ability to potentially make other or bigger trades this summer, especially if they clearly do want to compete next year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think the thing is like you bring in Jakob, and then an important part of it is to see like the trickle down effect and what it means to have a center like Jakob to the rest of the roster that you're trying to build, right? Like what's Fred's role going to look like, moving forward, how it's going to benefit a player like Gary so you can make some decisions in the summer if you want to move forward with these free agents. But with Cash, it's like you get like how many games are left? Like 23 games left to just kind of look at it versus being able to evaluate it over the course of an 82-game season, right? Because like they're going to have to make those decisions in the summer of not just bringing back Jakob, but looking at, how Fred and Gary and maybe even, OG and all these people fit. But, I guess 3 games in, the results are good.
Well, they should be 3-0 first
yeah,
off.
I mean, looking at it like outside of the Utah collapse, like they should be making a run here. But I mean, they're 4.5. I think they're 4.5 out of 6. It seems like, I mean, barring them making a huge run, they're going to be in the play-in. But I think more than the wins and losses is just looking at how they play, how they play with Jakob and using these games to really evaluate. Like, do you really believe in a lot of this core group, like moving forward, right?
Yeah, it's not just about this year, the rest of this year. It's also about how this group moves forward, right? Because I think the Raptors had that real pivotal moment where they could have moved off of guys at the deadline. Nobody would have been surprised. No one would have complained, really, right? And you could have tanked the year, but clearly they've chosen to move forward with this group, and they want to see how it fits together. So it's not just about what they do in the rest of this year, but I think that, I could envision a future where Jakob is here and a big part of the starting lineup, probably as your 5th option. He's probably not going to score 30 points a game. People, please don't expect this. But, you can play around that group and how he complements some of the main guys, particularly Scotty, who I thought found him quite often in the post, or Pascal, who obviously clearly has a great chemistry with Jakob and Fred as well, right? So, you have to evaluate all of that, which is, I think, Masai's favorite term. And, he has a lot of wisdom in the way he moves. I don't know. It's true, though. It really is.
No, it's facts. One of the other things we talked about earlier this week, Cash, is like really briefly, is like, they were missing OG and Gary yesterday, and hopefully the team's fully healthy by the time they're back in action next Thursday. There's gonna be a couple guys that are gonna have to come off the bench, right, of this core group. In your opinion, like how would you set the starting lineup for this team, for the rest of the season?
I think OG has to be in there, and I'm really interested to see how good the defense looks with both of OG and Poeltl on the court. Because right now, the minutes with just Poeltl on the court, the defense, numbers-wise, is almost elite. And if you can add OG to that and have more minutes with at least one of those guys, if not 2 on the court, the defensive upside and the ceiling is there.
Yeah.
I know the concern would be shot creation and shooting in general, with Gary not in the lineup and OG going in there with, Poeltl already in there. But I also think if you're looking at trying to keep the bench minutes afloat, I think Gary makes way more sense as that 6th-man gunner type that can carry a bench offense, even if he's not much of a playmaker, than a guy like OG could. And I think all of a sudden, when you start to think about it, where this team obviously has lacked depth, still kind of does, and has had a very poor bench all year, you start to think about it, and it's like a bench of Gary, Precious, Boucher, maybe Thad. They could still use, obviously, a more of a floor general type, like a veteran backup point guard. But other than that, that's actually a pretty fine bench. Like, that's solid enough, I think. If you're only going to be running an 8 or 9 man rotation anyway, if your 3 or 4 bench guys are Gary, Precious, Chris, and sometimes Thad, I think you're fine, again, based on what the Raptors are. Like, they're going to be playing for a play-in spot, maybe to try to get into sixth. If that's the range we're talking about, I think that kind of bench is fine. And I just think it makes more sense than OG with those guys.